मैम रिकॉर्डिंग स्टार्ट हो गई है, आप कैमरा और माइक ऑन कर लीजिए।
I hope the screen is visible. Yeah.
यस मैम।
If I'm not mistaken, we completed our unit number 4 in last class, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I think I'll just, if we have another class after this, I will, I would really like to start with our unit number 4 again, because um, I just need that more clarity. I just feel that more clarity could be given in that in that chapter. So if I'll get another class with you all, although I've covered it, but in case if I'll get it, I will make sure that we will repeat our unit number 4 again. And yeah, so today I know we've started with our unit number 5 to some extent, but I would like to repeat our unit number, that portion again, along with this entire unit. So, unit number 5 is all about sustainable growth and strategic decisions, decision making in social enterprise. How uh, can we, make sure that we grow sustainably? What strategic decisions can we take for our social enterprise? So, this entire unit is all about strategies for the sustainable growth. See, there are two, three things which are repeating itself. Number one is that sustainability is important, whether it is financial or whether it is impact. Impact should be strategically aligned with the mission and vision, and all the mission and vision of the company, of the organization, of the enterprise. And then there should be financial sustainability, and then last is scalability. Scalability is also one of the important aspect that we need to make sure that our operations can be highly scalable, right? uh, So basically, sustainable growth and strategic decision making in social enterprise, this entire chapter will help you to understand, number one, the scaling social impact. That means this is the overview of the unit number 5, right? These are all the points that you are going to study in the unit number 5. So you will understand about scaling social impact, how to make sure that the social impact is able to reach, expand, the mission is intact, there is balanced growth and sustainability. Then aligning the growth with mission, the your you need to make sure what the way you are growing, with the way the enterprise is growing, that should support the social goal. The social goal should not dilute while you are scaling your operations. Avoid any mission drift. There should not be any clashes in the mission, right? There should not be some overlapping statements or contradictory statements in your mission. Success is equals to social impact plus sustainability. Unless and until you are not continuous with your efforts, your efforts, whatever you are trying to do, are not sustainable, your success will not be guaranteed. So it's very important that social impact and sustainability are there, and they are key for success. Then strategic decision making, that means think long term, analyze impact of decisions, use decision models or tools. So you should think for the long term. And if you'll think for the long term, only then you'll be able to think about scaling the operations. Sustainability and adaptability, adapting to the changing trends of the market. That is what we studied in the very beginning, that you, whatever strategies, mission, vision, statement you are coming up with, all those should be flexible. They should have potential to change according to the market trends, right? Any changes in the government implications, etc. And they should innovate and stay resilient. The strategies should be able to, you should be able to innovate more in those strategies. They should not be rigid. Then emerging trends and future directions. So it means to stay aware of new trends, plan for ongoing growth and sustainability. So or emerging trends or future directions that might help us to understand how to stay aware of the new trends, how we can again plan and grow for the answer, uh, focus on sustainability. So these are all the learning outcomes that we are going to look at. Now, I have the first topic of your unit number 5, that is strategies for scaling social impact. This entire section will basically talk about how to grow. So, strategies for scaling social impact. Now, scaling itself means to grow, right? Wherever the term scaling means, it's coming, that means it focuses on growing. So it basically focuses on how to grow. Now, growth is not just business, it it is impact expansion. So growth in not in terms of growing more businesses, but it is in the terms of expanding the impact, because that is the ultimate goal and ultimate meaning of our social enterprise, that we are focusing on our social impact. What are the key ideas when we talk about growth? uh, it should be a mission driven, right? There should be mission driven growth, community focused hona chahiye, partnership honi chahiye. Without these, the impact will be not possible to reach, right? The focus is should be on how to expand, right? The focus is on how to impact, how one can expand the impact, right? Now, here are some of the strategies that we can, some of these strategies that we can consider and we should consider when we are talking about expanding or scaling the impact. Number one is replication and adaptation. Replication means that some model has been already implemented somewhere, a successful model, which you find is kind of relatable and easily replicable in your idea as well, right? So what you can do is you can just take those successful models and replicate it to the new clients, new customers, new context, or new geographical locations. It is very crucial that the strategy is the crucial to this strategy is that the ability to adapt the model, fit the different social, cultural, and environmental economic environments. So replication means you are replicating, and adapting means you're adapting to the changes. Right? It's not like, for example, if I talk about, it's just a business thing that I'll talk about. It will be a business thing that I will talk about. That is, if you know that McDonald's came into the Indian markets, entered the Indian markets with the with beef and the other, you know, uh, food ingredients. So when McDonald's studied the Indian culture, then they got to know that people in India do not eat beef, so they um, added chicken and aloo to the potatoes, to the system, to the food ingredients, right? So McDonald's gave this ultimate example to the whole world that reading cultures, reading the demographics, reading the behavior of a certain location or a country or a state is very important. If you go anywhere in any country, the McDonald's menu will not be same, it will be different. So they've curated their menu as per their social, cultural, and economic environments and other behavioral and everything. So that is called adaptation. They are replicating the same model, same kitchen, same working style, same um, work culture, same equipment, same sitting arrangement, kitchen system. They're replicating it exactly the same, but they are adapting to the local needs, right? So it is all about copying a successful idea and using it in new places, but with the necessary changes. So replication and adaptation basically means copying a successful model and modifying it to suit the different conditions. So one of the Indian example is Akshay Patra. I have given all the examples, and I'm sure these examples are also there in your study material, SLM. I've just given it a structure. I've just, beautified it, gamified it. So, Akshay Patra Foundation is basically a leading non-profit organization in India that serves nutritious meal to the school children under the midday meal scheme. The basic mission of the company, the organization, or the foundation is that no child is in India should be deprived of education due to hunger. So, as you can see, their tagline, it is unlimited food for education. Initially, I was also confused why they are correlating food with the education. But when I saw their mission statement, then I got to know that they do not want that school children should feel, they should feel like let's go to school, we'll study, and we can also have some food there. So it expanded its midday meal program to multiple states, adopting the local tastes and nutritional needs. So it expanded to various regions and curated the meal accordingly as per their tastes and preferences. Next is service or product diversification. Service or product diversification is basically broadening the range of your services and products. Social enterprise can address a wider range of social issues or meet the need of larger beneficiary groups. Diversification simply means expanding the products and services that increase the reach and social impact, whereas social enterprise don't stick um, yeah. Also, social enterprise don't stick to just one offering. They make sure they expand in their products and services. They address multiple social issues, and more offerings mean creating more impact. That's the agenda. That is the strategy. When we talk about implementing a strategy of service and product diversification, that means a company is trying to increase the horizon of their services and product so that more people can be benefited from it, and it can also address many social issues and hence reach and increase the impact. Indian example could be Selco India. Just let me know if I'm not clear, just let me know. I'll be a little bit loud. Actually, I have some cervical issues, so I'm having pain till here. So it's kind of difficult for me to move my jaw as well. So do let me know. Indian example could be Selco. Selco India is a social enterprise which primarily works in the area of decentralized renewable energy solutions in the rural geographies of India. So what they do is their focus and the primary working area is energy, providing energy solutions. They diversified it from solar lighting to energy solutions for the health, education, and livelihood, addressing broader needs. So, the focus of this Selco is on low income, rural, and underserved urban communities, and they bridges a gap between them and the energy sector. So basically, it's a renewable energy solution that has further diversified from their product and services to the health, education, and livelihood sectors. So that's your what. So I just want to tell you one thing. जितने भी हम एग्जाम्पल्स पढ़ रहे हैं, जितनी भी हम कंपनीज के बारे में अपने नोट्स में, अपने लेक्चर्स में कवर कर रहे हैं, आपको वो सारी कंपनीज के बारे में आपको पढ़ना बहुत जरूरी है, बिकॉज केस स्टडीज ऐसी ही कंपनीज से आती हैं. सो आई जस्ट रिकमेंड यू ऑल टू गो थ्रू दीज companies, read their journeys, read about what strategy they used, read about what is their mission, what is their vision, what are their business plan. Just have a look at it, right? This will actually give you more options to think it through. Then we have third strategy, that is called policy advocacy and thought leadership. Now, when I talk about policy advocacy and thought leadership, it means influencing government policies and guiding ideas in society. गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज को इन्फ्लुएंस करना और सोसाइटी में उसी से रिलेटेड आइडियाज को promote karna, so that a larger impact can be created. So instead of helping only directly, the enterprise influencers rules or law, spread awareness and ideas. So this basically creates a system-wide change, not just a small-scale impact, but a large-scale impact. So it basically means creating a large-scale impact by influencing policies and leading social change through discussions, right? So this goes beyond the direct service of the enterprise. So matlab basically direct service is what a foundation is supposed to do, but through policy advocacy and through thought leadership, this can not just only help directly to the people that you're serving, but it can also create a broader impact. That's what it means. Indian example is CRY, which is Child Rights and You. It's a premier Indian NGO founded in 1979 by Ripan Kapoor. It is entirely dedicated to make sure that underprivileged children's uh, their basic rights to live, learn, grow, and play are safe, right? It works across 20 plus states, partnering with grassroots organizations to address education, healthcare, nutrition, and protection from child labor or child marriage. So, the influence of child right policies while providing on ground support to the underprivileged children is a perfect example for this. So, what they're doing is whatever the policy advocacy is regarding child rights, they are practicing it to the grassroots root level. They are implementing those changes, and if they find any difficulties in such areas, they can also uh, communicate the same to the your government, and then they can make some changes or influence the decisions of government. Next is your leveraging technology. Leveraging technology means that you are using digital tools and technology to increase the reach and impact. Now, tools can be used such as mobile apps, online platforms, data systems, but it really makes sure or it ensures to help in reaching more people, working faster with efficiency and efficiently. Now, technology means more impact with less effort. For example, earlier, if anybody has to collect the data from the customers, from the, for let's say census data or any data, they had to think first that how will they collect the data. But nowadays it is very easy. You just create a Google form, you rotate it, regulate it, you just email it to everybody you know, and a chain reaction can be created, and people in your relation and their link or their link can forward it further and further, and that makes the data collection very easy. So basically technology can make um it can help in expanding the reach and also improve the efficiency of the task. A perfect example could be here QTIR. It is opportunity driven by knowledge. So this particular platform is a social enterprise that utilizes a decentralized technology driven model to empower smallholder farmers and rural communities. So it is a basically what it does. So it has perfectly connected the dots. I'll show you how. So it connects with a market, information, and resources, scaling its impact across the rural India. So it created a single platform where small farmers markets are connected. They get all the information on all the resources. So this particular association was found in 2009, and it uses PIE model, which is participatory IT enabled enterprise driven, to connect farmers to market, input suppliers, and financial services, aiming to improve livelihoods and promote sustainable data driven farming practices. So basically, and at the end, it focuses on the farming practices, but it has created a platform where everybody can connect, right? Next strategy is capacity building. So, in this strategy, it means strengthening the organization's skills, systems, and resources to support the growth. So, it basically makes sure that it basically focuses on increasing and enhancing the skills of a staff, infrastructure, improving the processes. It helps organization to handle more work, manage the growth efficiently, and a strong capacity means smooth scaling. If you have a strong capacity, the scaling will be super smooth. So capacity building means improving internal capabilities to manage and grow efficiently. So it basically focuses on including staff training, infrastructure development, and process optimization. And it is vital for scaling. Now, another example for this particular strategy used by is Teach for India company, pro non-profit organization. It was found in 2009 by Shaheen Mistry, and that aimed to eliminate educational inequalities by placing college graduates and working professions as a full-time teachers in under-resourced school for a 2-year fellowship. Now, this is all about connecting and networking with the alumni and unko. connecting it with the schools and the under-resourced schools so that a chain of reaction can be created and all the children could get the education, foster leadership to bridge the educational gap. So over 5,000 alumni are working to impact the education system through various roles. So it invests in training and development of its fellows to ensure the quality education across its expanded networks of schools. Next is we have is challenges in scaling social impact. What all challenges do we have or do one face when they are trying to achieve scaling, right? Scaling what? Scaling the social impact. Okay, so when any enterprise is trying to scale any social impact, challenges can be understood as resource quality and mission related issues. So, any enterprise can fail three types of issues broadly. Number one is resource, number two is quality, and number three is mission related issues. Now, scaling increases the impact but requires careful planning to overcome challenges and ensure sustainable growth. It is very important that a planning has been done, but but whenever the challenge comes, uh, you know, the team has to, give its best and change the strategies, change the strategy as per the conditions. Now that there are some other challenges also, but scaling basically means increasing the impact, but also there are many challenges, and then how to overcome it. What are the mitigating strategies that one enterprise can use, that we will study under this topic. So there are three types of challenges as we discussed. Number one is a resource limitation. Number two is qualitative and effectiveness. Number three is mission versus scale. Now, when we are talking about resource limitation, we know that there are limited funds, there must be limited staff, which leads to slow expansion, funding plus partnership plus technology, all these things that is required, right? Mission versus scale, we know the risk of mission drift, mission dilution, right? So that is another challenge. Next is quality and effectiveness. It takes time to maintain the quality. So risk of weak outcomes can also lead to is also one of a challenge. And so for this, training plus monitoring is something that is needed. So I guess I know this what is wrong. This is the challenge. Mhm. This is the challenge. This is the impact on scaling, and this is the mitigation strategy. So a detailed explanation is on the other side. Here, included a mind map so that it can be easily for you to understand. So I guess I'll just make some changes here. Um, um, so this is a challenge. Here, this is a challenge. Okay. Then this is your impact on scaling, and this is your mitigation strategy. This is how this particular section should look like. Yeah, that's better. I'll do this change later on, maybe. But I just want you to know that this is what it looks like. Mm, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that is how this slide will look like. So challenges, the funds are limited, staff is limited. How does it impact on scaling? There it leads to slower expansion. Then what are the mitigating strategies that can be used? That is funding, partnership, and technology. Same here for the mission and vision, the risk of mission drift. What is the impact on scaling? There will be a focus of shift to growth. Focus will shift to the growth. What is the mitigation strategy? That is, or mitigating strategy, it could be aligning with the mission. So, in detail, we will understand this in this slide. So, number one is resource limitation. This has been the constant challenge when we studied about this. We studied about, I guess, first time we studied this in economics in 11th class or maybe 12th, that the resources are scarce, right? Resources are scarce. So that is number one is resource limitation. Social enterprises often have limited funds, limited staff, and infrastructure, which makes it difficult for any enterprise to expand. How does it impact on scaling? So, due to lack of resources, growth slow down हो जाती है, or maybe even fail, and especially when trying to enter new areas, so it basically fails. What are the mitigation strategies that one can use? Number one is to overcome this, that they should diversify the funding. They should think about the funding and diversify it accordingly. Then build partnership. They should think of raising money from other sources, think of partnership, and use cost effective solutions like technology. Next is maintaining quality effectiveness. Okay. Next is maintaining quality effectiveness. Now, this challenge is as social enterprise grows, it becomes really harder to maintain the same quality and effectiveness. And due to the increased operations and more beneficiaries, it becomes more of a challenge. How does it impact the scaling? Like if quality is not maintained, impact will be reduced, reputation will get affected, and nobody will like your product or service. What is a mitigation strategy that one can use? Number one, they can manage this. To manage this, they should focus on training their employees, make sure there is a strict quality control thing on going on there, and regular impact assessment. Every monthly, weekly, bi-weekly, there should be this impact assessment. Next, we have is balancing scale with mission. Scale means growth with mission. The growth and mission should be in the balance. So a challenge could be as social enterprise grows, there is a risk of losing focus on their original mission and prioritizing the growth for or profits. So that is one of a challenge. How does it impact scaling? This can reduce the true purpose and impact the organization. What will be the mitigation strategy? Now, to avoid this, they should regularly review their mission, involve stakeholders, and align all the growth strategies with their core purposes. Now, these are some of the challenges that that might be, you know, impact the scaling process. Now, next is strategic growth and sustainable impact, aligning the mission and market. Now, this section basically explains how a social enterprise balance their social mission with the financial sustainability for the strategic growth. Now, in this previous slide, we check this challenge, and there were other challenges also. One of the challenges also that how a mission, social mission, and the financial sustainability is balanced. So that is also a challenge, but then this section will tell you how this balance can be maintained. Now, social enterprise must maintain balance between the social mission and the financial sustainability for the growth. Growth basically ensures economic viability without compromising impact. That is also one of the challenge. And the third is that success depends on aligning market demands with the social goals. So everything here goes hand in hand with each other. So, you know, इन सबको बैलेंस आउट करना, सबको check करना becomes very important. Now there are 5 to 6 type of um, strategies that will help, or a way out that can help you to understand how mission, social mission, and financial sustainability can go hand in hand. Okay. Sorry, I'm not bit a bit well today. Okay, so the number one point is market research and social need analysis. When we are doing market research and social need analysis, what does that mean? Market research means that you are studying the target market, you are understanding, and the need social need analysis is that you are understanding what social needs of your target market or your target segment needs to be addressed, right? That can really help you to understand, help you to figure out what strategy can be used. Okay, so it involves studying market trends, customer needs, and gaps, along with understanding the social needs and challenges of the target community. What could be the application process? So aligning the product or services with both market demand and social need, it is important, right? You can, for example, here you can see Goonj. गूंज का मैंने एग्जाम्पल शायद आपको पहले दिया है कि नहीं दिया, आई डोंट रिमेम्बर, बट गूंज इज, आई गेस यस, ऑफलाइन क्लास में हुआ था. गूंज इज अ सोशल एंटरप्राइज दैट फोकस ऑन एड्रेसिंग क्लोथिंग नीड्स. It identified a gap in the rural and urban resource flow. So they initiated this unique model of turning urban waste into materials into resources for the rural development. So that is one of the example. Next is value proposition refinement. Now, when we are talking about value proposition refinement, it basically means that a compelling value proposition statement or proposition is crafted that communicates or resonates with both the consumer and the social mission. What do you want to do? What you are trying to achieve? That really meant, that resonates with that. What is the process? Now to involve refining in the enterprises offering to ensure they provide tangible value to the customers while also advancing the social cause. So they need to make sure that what you are offering, what tangible value you've added to your product, what tangible value you've added, that also must fulfill the social causes. So it requires a clear understanding of what makes the product or service unique and how it addresses both a market need and a social problem. Application, for instance, a company selling sustainable products that might emphasize both the quality and eco-friendliness of their product. So appealing to environmentally conscious consumers while promoting sustainability. A very good example of this could be your Resham Sutra as well. One of the example is Amul as well, a dairy cooperative revolutionizing the dairy industry in India. So their value proposition basically combines the market demand for quality dairy products with empowering rural farmers, especially women in the process. So that's the value proposition refinement. Next we have is stakeholders engagement. Stakeholders engagement means that you're trying to involve and align all the stakeholders with the enterprise's mission and market strategies. Now, here you are trying to align the stakeholders with the mission or the market strategies of the enterprise, right? So, stakeholders are all the people who are interested in your enterprise or your idea, your business. So, what is the process? A regular and effective communication is very important with the stakeholders. Stakeholders could be your consumer, beneficiaries, employees, and innovators. Oh, sorry, investors. So, gathering a feedback from them, involving them in decision-making process, and ensuring their needs and expectations are met. Application, a social enterprise might hold stakeholders meeting or a survey to understand what their perspective is and ensure the growth strategies are in line with the stakeholders expectations and the needs. Now Selco, अभी हमने उसके बारे में पढ़ा. Selco is a sustainable energy solution providing company, that enterprise that to the underserved communities. So they basically engage through the grassroots level, and they provide solutions that meet the needs of both community and commercial viability, and also have a commercial viability. Next we have is innovation revenue model. Innovation revenue model basically focuses on exploring and implementing revenue models that support a social mission and ensuring financial sustainability. Revenue, there are many revenue models available. People are following, but you selecting a revenue model that works best for you. So basically, there are many business models. You are just doing a mix match of those and using the one that might help you, right? What is the process? So this process includes a lot of brain working, that is brainstorming the ideas, testing various revenue models, and that are not traditionally used in regular businesses. So, like social impact bonds, where returns are based on the social impact achieved, cross subsidization, or cross subsidization, where profits from one area subsidize operations in the another. Application could be a healthcare social enterprise that might use a cross subsidization model where services to affluent clients subsidized free, or low cost services to the underprivileged communities, or services to the affluent clients cannot be free, but service to the low cost services to the underprivileged communities can be free. One of the example is Araku coffee, which is grown by tribal communities in Araku Valley. This uses a model where premium organic coffee is sold in international markets, supporting the livelihood and the development of local farmers. So this coffee is not for the Indians, not for the country, but this coffee goes is exported uh, internationally, right? Then we have is impact measurement and reporting. I just want you to give me 2 minutes. I'll be just back. Okay. Impact measurement and reporting. So here, impact measurement means that we are trying to measure the impact regularly, right? And reporting that. And for the reporting, I also told you there are various tools through which various guidelines through which the impact can be reported. Reported not in terms of a negative term, but there is environmental audit, there is sustainability reporting. All such reporting formats really, make sure and promote the measuring the impact. So the purpose of this particular strategy or a solution is to regularly assess and communicate the social impact of the enterprise. The process makes sure to establish robust mechanism for measuring social impact, such as social return on investment and the other impact assessment tools, regularly reporting these impact to the stakeholders and demonstrate how the enterprise is achieving its social mission, how far it has come along, and what else they need to achieve. There is a company called Teach for India that measures and reports impact transforming education sector by recruiting and training fellow to the Teach that we just covered Teach for India. अभी हमने previous slide में भी इस example को पढ़ा है. So through that they can measure that this many how like 5,000 people this year have uh, you know been recruited. In the next year, maybe 10,000 more has been added to this cycle or this networking channel. So that is basically impact measurement. Um, a very great source is and there are many other tools. The social return on investment हमने पढ़ा इसके बारे में. Social return on investment basically means that you are working, creating a social impact, and social returns on the investment, whatever you have invested and how much the investor is getting back or based on this social terms, that is social returns on investment. I can explain it better in the next class if you have, right? Next we have is moving on to the next slide. अच्छा ये आगे पीछे हो गया. Adaptive business model. Adaptive business model means that to maintain flexibility in business operations to adapt to changing market conditions without losing sight of the social mission. So here, all the business operation, the business operation is also um, kept adaptive to make sure that in case of any changes in the market conditions, it can also the model can also be changed or adapt to the flexible needs without losing any sight of the social mission or financial sustainability. It can be done by continuous monitoring of the market trends and ready to pivot or adjust the business model as needed is very important. This could also involve diversifying the product lines, exploring the new markets, and adapting the operational strategies. Example could be this application is also one of an example. So either you check this example or this example, doesn't matter. There are, I guess, two different examples here. Now, Jaipur Rugs basically connects the rural artisans with the global markets. They adapt to the business model to changing market trends in home decor while preserving the traditional rug making techniques. Now, again, you can see this. You can check this business model where local artisans are connected over a platform to the global market so that this drug making, traditional drug making practice can be preserved. And it has also set higher things in the, higher level in the home decor uh, market. Next we have is developing a business plan for social ventures. Now this slide is still here only. We'll just I'll just switch to your SLM. Now we have is developing business plan for social venture. When we are talking about a business plan that we covered in unit number 2, that a business plan is a roadmap that is or a very very in-depth planning where all the information, all the financial projections are done for the 2 or 3 or maybe 5 years way in advance, right? So that is what we studied about the business plan. Now, developing a business plan for social venture, we already did that, but here we will be understanding, we will make sure to understand and to read that addressing this immediate needs and challenges, um, it really needs a broader vision. It need not have any myopia in the vision, right? uh, Organization or enterprise must be able to make sure any strategic decisions in case of any changes in the market condition arises. So now the key element of the strategic decision making. uh, Now, this section basically explores various facts uh, of the strategic decision making process that enables social enterprises to create a sustainable to create and sustain long-term impacts. Now, how do we make sure that uh, long-term capital social impact is sustained? Number one is number one is key element of strategic decision making. Strategic Okay. Now, this, okay, sorry. We have vision alignment. Vision alignment means that decisions should be aligned with the long-term vision. There should be a long-term vision, and whatever decision you make, it should be aligned with that. It should be aligned with the mission. It should be aligned with the social impact that you're trying to achieve. And this ensures that each choice contributes to the broader goal of the organization. Next is stakeholders involvement. Stakeholder involvements mean engaging various stakeholders, including beneficiaries, employees, donors, and community, in the decision making process. This we have already covered somewhere in the like right now. Ethical consideration means that ethical consideration should be prioritized in every decision. There should not be any legal compliances faced by the enterprise, um, because your actions will be, in case of social enterprise, will affect the environment around you, and you don't want that any actions by the company by the social enterprise. Any actions by the social enterprise basically ruins the reputation. So, ethical consideration is very important. Next is risk management. Assessing and managing risk associated with strategic decision basically involves, it's very important, and it involves evaluating potential challenges and preparing any contingency plan required. Next we have is uh, resource allocation. I'm so sorry. I don't know what just happened. Okay. Resource allocation means that whatever the resources you have, whether it is finance, whether it is personnel means human resource, whether it is time, you need to make sure that all the resources are allocated in such a way that the impact can be maximized. Next is innovation and adaptability. It embraces the innovation and remaining adaptable to the changing circumstances. So, whatever the changes are required, whatever innovations are there that needs to be, for example, nowadays, now in today's times, there enterprise will not use such tools that will be their loss. So it is very important that whatever innovation is there, you should embrace that, adapt it to your business model. Now this includes being open to the new ideas, new technology, and approach. And this basically makes sure that the social impact is reached. Next is impact assessment and learning. It is all about regularly assessing the impact of decisions and using these assessments to inform future choices. Learning from both successes and failures is vital in the continuous improvement. So when we are trying to, we need to make sure that we are able to, reach out to the entire to make sure that impact, whatever impact you need to, you know, achieve, that is that is assessed. There are some KPIs, there are some matrix that can help in calculating or reaching to those impact. Next we have is implementation strategy decision making. Now this strategy decision making which we did, how we will be able to, or how we can implement this? We can implement this by developing a decision making framework. A decision making framework is all about creating a structured framework that guides decision making process. This framework should include a criteria for evaluating options, process for stakeholders' input, and methods for assessing impact. So, a decision making framework can really help in incorporating every decision while making a decision. Next is balancing short and long term goals. How we maintain a balance between short term and the long term goals, क्योंकि ultimately long term goal तभी achieve होगा जब आप उसको cover करने के लिए छोटे छोटे short term goals को achieve करेंगे. For example, I have a target, I need to increase sales by 20%. तो मैं एकदम तो 20% नहीं increase करूंगी ना sales. There will be a इस महीने लेट्स से 2% सेल इंक्रीज हुई है, अगले महीने 5% इंक्रीज करा है, ऐसे एड ऑन करते करते हम जर्नी से ही तो हम अल्टीमेट गोल पर एम पर पहुंचेंगे. तो इसीलिए balance between the short term and the long term goals or the needs are very important. So ensuring that immediate operational decisions do not compromise the long term mission. We need to make sure that the long term missions are are not compromised. Strategic planning needs to be there so that short-term objectives with the enterprise's long-term vision can be bridged together. Next is fostering a culture of strategic thinking. When we are talking about the strategic thinking, we need to make sure that encouraging a mindset among team members that values strategic thinking and long term planning. This culture supports better decision making at all the levels of the organization. Now, cultural of strategic thinking is fostering that is very important, because unless and until a person or people do not, you know, have this habit of thinking creatively, this altering the decisions as per the market conditions will not be possible then. Then there is leveraging data and insight. It is all about using data and analytics to inform decisions, including it involves gathering all the data from the market trends, social needs, operational efficiency, impact matrix, and make a very informed decision. Then regular strategic reviews. A periodic review can be organized where your operational strategy completely aligned with the mission goals, and this also helps in identifying areas for improvement and adjusting strategies accordingly. Next we have is challenges in strategic decision making. Challenges in strategic decision making क्या हो सकता है? Aligning the diverse interests. Balancing every stakeholder's interest together is one of a challenge. Managing the change. Change is basically when you want to do a strategic change, right, in the organization, when you want to manage your personnel in the working space, it becomes very difficult. So careful planning and careful communication to the entire enterprise, it becomes a very huge challenge. Uncertainty and complexity. Basically, social enterprise operates in a complex environment with many uncertainties, and making decision making challenges. So any uncertainty or any complexity which we cannot which we cannot have control over it. So such um, things can be a greater challenge when it comes to the strategic decision making. Now, strategic decision making is not, it's to create a long-term impact. It is a multifaceted and dynamic process, and it requires a careful balance between all the points that we discussed above. So, next is we have a table through which we can get an idea. Um, this table is all about various aspects of strategic decision making for long-term impact. Number one is vision alignment. Vision alignment means aligning your strategies, your work with the mission, right? With your vision and mission. A social enterprise example is Kudumbashri. Kudumbashri in Kerala. It focuses on women empowerment through community-based micro enterprise development. So it aligns every decision with its mission, with its vision of eradicating poverty and empowering women in Kerala. So basically, every decision, every strategic decision is perfectly aligned with the vision. Next is stakeholders involvement. Run Day India is basically a platform that engages both the borrowers and the social investors in its micro lending platform, and that ensures that the services are tailored to the needs of the low income households while offering transparent income opportunities. So that's the stakeholder involvement. Next is ethical consideration. A good example is Fab India that upholds ethical sourcing and fair trade practices in the supply chain and ensures that the artisans and the craft people receive a fair compensation that aligns with with its the Fab India's ethos, nurturing India's Indian craft and artisans. Next, we have is risk management. Uh, Agastya International Foundation basically it's a hands-on science education, carefully manages risk associated with the educational content, delivery in diverse and often rural settings, ensuring the impactful and safe learning experiences. Next is our resource allocation. One of the example is Akshay Patra, which we also studied. It's all about the midday meal, and that makes sure that the students get the good food, nutritious food, and through food they can make sure that students can get this or develop this habit that we are getting good food in the school, so why not go and get some learn something in the classroom as well. So that's a resource allocation. Innovation and adaptability, Daily Dump Bangalore. It's a continuously innovating in the composting solutions and adapts to the urban settings. It helps our households and the communities to manage organic waste effectively, and it aligns with the mission of reducing landfill waste. So they are using innovative ideas to for the composting, and they are adapting to the different regions. Next is impact assessment learning. Digital Green India is it basically utilizes the digital tools to disseminate agricultural knowledge and regularly assessing the impact of its videos, training of farmers practices and crop yields, using insights to refine um, improve its program. So impact assessment is basically कुछ calls पे जैसे Digital Green India, it teaches their farmers to produce more effectively, to provide them training on farming and best farming practices. Next we have is next topic is sustainability in social enterprise growth and the future directions. This will be the, I guess, last topic for today's class because this is the last topic of your chapter. No, second last. Okay. No, actually, it is last. Yes. Okay. Sustainability and social enterprise growth, enterprise growth. So as social enterprise evolves, sustainability becomes very critical factor. So it makes sure that maintaining financial viability, social relevance, and operational resilience is very important. So in this section, we will be understanding all the emerging trends, challenges, and opportunities that a social enterprise may face in the pursuit of sustainable growth. The key aspects of the sustainable growth are as follows. Number one is financial sustainability. That means a balance between sufficient revenue to sustain the operations and fulfill the social mission. What are the trends? What are the trends that are for used for financial sustainability? Number one is diversified funding sources. Matlab, fundings you can get from different channels like grants, donations, impact investing, and revenue from goods and services. Then there is revenue generation activities such as developing product and services that are aligned with the mission and vision of the company and generate income out of it. Then we have is innovative financial model, which basically means utilizing mechanisms like social impact bonds, where funding is tied to the achievement of specific social outcomes. Then there is challenge. Challenge, what could be the challenge in the financial sustainability? क्या हमें प्रॉफिट मेकिंग पे ध्यान देना चाहिए या फिर हमें सोशल ऑब्जेक्टिव को फुलफिल करने पे ध्यान देना चाहिए? One should not overshadow the other. Then cash flow management. It becomes very difficult and to make to effectively manage all the cash flows, financial resources. Then access to the capital. Now funding investors or the funding resources are basically aligned with the enterprise's mission and value. So let's say if some investors mission or value does not match with your mission and values and vision, then funding becomes difficult. Next is your environmental sustainability. When we are talking about environmental sustainability, it means incorporating practices that reduces the environmental footprints and also promote ecological balance. So trends could be using green technologies, renewable technology sources, energy resources, eco-friendly technologies, sustainable supply chains, such supply chain practices that are environmentally responsible, eco-friendly practices, implementing practices that helps in reduce waste, conserve resources, and minimize any pollution that might, impact the environment. Then, what are the challenges that becomes for the environmental sustainability? What becomes a challenge? So, number one is cost versus environmental consideration. Balancing the additional cost of green practice with the financial sustainability becomes very challenging because for practicing environmental green practices, it means more money or other different resources than the traditional resources. Staying updated, keeping in pace with latest environmental innovations and practices that are being done by the others and that are recommended by others और जिनके ऊपर ज़्यादा रिसर्च हो रही है and which proves to be effective. Government, any government footprints in such area that we need to be make sure that we need to be linked with that. Then next is social and community impact. Social and community impact basically focus on continuous and effective contribution to the welfare of target communities. The main focus should be that community engagement. what are the trends? Community engagement, आप community से के साथ involve हो, feedback loops में रहें, decision making में उनको अपने साथ रखें. Then there is impact measurement. Use tools and use metrics to quantify the social impact, and adapting services. That is all about modifying and evolving services to meet changing impact needs, social needs. What are the challenges? Number one, relevance of social mission. सोशल मिशन का रेलेवेंस जैसे जैसे ग्रोथ एक्सपेंशन बढ़ता है देर आर चांसेस दैट द सोशल मिशन dilutes in the process, so that becomes one of the challenge. Accurate impact measurement, that means measuring social impact in a way that both are comprehensive and representative. But then there is no such measurement tool to measure the impact, then it becomes very challenging. Next is organizational resilience. Organization resilience means that ability to adapt and thrive to the changing market conditions and the environmental conditions. What are the trends? Number one is agile operational mode. What is the agile operational mode? It is basically implementing flexible and responsive operational strategies. Next, continuous learning cultures. You make sure that everybody is learning about the different the learning is promoted, and that in itself causes or leads to development in the organization. Then is adaptive leadership. Leadership that is capable of navigating change and uncertainty. Challenges, it is effective change management. When you are changing something in your management, in your enterprise, it becomes very difficult to implement such changes. Then maintaining flexibility, staying agile and adaptable without losing any strategic autonomy. Then communication effectiveness, communication effectiveness,
मैम आपकी आवाज आनी बंद हो गई. नहीं मैम, अभी भी आवाज नहीं आ रही आपकी. जस्ट अभी अभी इशू आया, पहले तो आ रही.
अभी ठीक है?
यस मैम, आप ठीक है.
Okay. Then community, social and community impact, which is Goonj India. जो क्या करती है that it takes the clothes from the from the urban areas, and it makes it into a finished product and give it back to the rural areas. So basically, रिसोर्स मैनेजमेंट का काम कर रहे हैं ये. देन ऑपरेशनल resilience, रन डे इंडिया, which provides micro credit solutions to the, and they help adapt to the market changes, they evolving needs and commitments, and evolving needs of the communities, and maintaining a resilient operational model as per the changes in the environment. Next, I guess last topic of our chapter number 5 is future directions for sustainable growth in social enterprise. Now, a broader goal of creating sustainable and inclusive economy. What could be that? What are the future directions that are suggested? Number one is leverage the use of technology for scaling. Using technology to enhance the reach and the efficiency of the social enterprise is very important. So for this, one can implement digital marketing, e-commerce platforms for the product sales, data analytics for measuring impact, and mobile technologies for delivering services. Next we have is Partnership and collaboration. Now, partnership and collaboration means strategic partnerships with the other organizations, government entities, and private sector. This can be implemented by following some joint venture ideas or cross-sector partnerships and taking collaborative projects that helps in strengthening the work and also provide the enterprise with the resources. It can help in collaboration, maintaining a collaboration, and this collaboration can help in access of new resources, expertise, network to the enterprise, right? Next, third is policy engagement and advocacy. Policy engagement and advocacy means that um, policy engagement and advocacy means that engaging with the policymakers to influence the public policy and regulatory environment. Then implementation, that is including this includes lobbying, participating in the policy department development, and working with the government bodies to create more favorable environment for social enterprises. Basically, interacting with the policy department, interacting with the government, and making sure that what you have experience you have gained in the low grassroots level, bring that in the attention of the policymakers and tell them how things are done such so that decisions can be made. It can help, it will benefit the for in the effective policy engagement, and that can lead a support and be more supportive to the legal and financial framework, right? Next is focus on human capital. Human capital is what? Human capital is a person working in the organization with the best knowledge, best expertise, best degrees, and best aura. So investing in such people becomes very important, whether it is employees, whether it is a volunteer. It becomes very crucial for them, for any social enterprise. So how this can be done? This can be done when social enterprise can provide such trainings, professional development opportunities, and creating a supporting work environment that might foster the effectiveness um, of the amongst the human resources. Embracing circular economy principle. Now, circular economy principle is all about implementing a business model that focus on reuse and recycle of the resources. When we are talking about the reuse and recycle of resources, that means the resources are being, uh, you know, um, there is no wastage of any product, any resource, and you are reusing it again back into the business. So implementation could be adopting such practices such as minimum waste, designing the product so that it can be, there should be longevity to it, using recycled materials. Now, if you see Coke bottles, it is written it is 100% POE bottles, I guess. I don't remember it, but it's there on the Coke bottle. That means ये 100% recycled small pet bottle से बनी हुई एक बड़ी 2 लीटर की bottle है. And that is the recycled, using the recycled material. Now you must have seen that there is the many companies are coming up with the refill options in the in cosmetics. You have the cream, you have a bottle. Once it is done, you throw away the bottle, and it goes back into the uh, you know uh, to the landfills and land pits, and वहां से वो फिर कहीं recycle होके आती है. It's a very long process. So what company has decided, once you have used your bottles, you have bought, once that is used, what you can do is you can get a refill pack from us, refill it in that particular jar, and your product is there, you're good to go. Right? So you don't have to pay for the premium packaging again and again. All you can do is refill it with their refill pouches, and you can refill it at very low cost. So such practices can be done where the recycled materials are used or products are designed for the longevity, right? It benefits the economy model. It can reduce the environmental impact and save cost. Also, one example I would like to give, this mouse is made of plastic. Once it is, it does not work, I will throw it in the dustbin. But it is plastic. It will be there. It will be recycled, reused somehow, but it's a lengthy process. I have seen some, uh, I guess if I'm not mistaken, it's of Google Pixel or Microsoft Surface. There is a mouse which is made of a sheet, and it is covered with some kind of a fabric. It's plain fabric. You just keep it in a shape, usko ek shape de do, and it will become a mouse. There is some adjustment to that. So such practices can, increase the life of the product usage. Now, circular economy models can help in reduce environmental impact, save costs, and create sustainable value chains that benefits both the enterprises and the community. Next is global networking learning. When we talk about global networking learning, it means engaging with the global networks for social enterprise, for knowledge exchange and mutual learning. So when you do the networking, you learn, right? This can be implemented by participating in many international forums, online communities, and collaborative projects with the global partners. Now, benefits, how does it benefit? A global networking provides opportunities for learning from diverse experiences, sharing best practices, and accessing the new markets and resources. Now, this entire unit number 5 is done. In the next class, what we can do is we can go through the case studies, right? These case studies can really help us understand more things. So we will be covering all the case studies in the next class, which are there in your SLM, and we will also discuss these questions. If you will participate, it will be very good that, you know, uh, it will be very, helpful, and you will be able to understand that how you need to answer such questions when such case studies comes to your paper, right? Because all the companies that we studied in this entire SLM will be covered in your any one of these will be covered in your paper, and you will get questions not just based on one unit but all the units. You will be given questions like suggest some scaling ideas to the company, what challenges they are facing, how can they overcome, all such type of questions will get, which will really knock your minds up. And for that you need to have a practice how you can, come up with the solutions and all that. So that's it from my side. Your entire social enterprise, strategic management and social enterprise is completed from my side. In the next class we will be doing all the case studies, and if time permits I will cover unit number 4 again and give you a perspective of what we have completely done, what we have done so far in our syllabus. And I understand through SLM, there might be some points which might be very confusing, which you might also feel that we have studied this again and again. Why this thing is repeating? What is the purpose of some topics? What we are trying to achieve through it? So all such confusions can be I will be able, in the next class, I'll be able to give you a very correct and very clear image of that. I hope there is no problem as such. And if it does, you can reach out to me, or we can also discuss it in our online classes. And it would be very great if the CR of the class can ask all the people, all the class members to, join the class so that we can discuss case study with you all. I don't know if we'll be having any offline classes or not, but if it is going to be the online class, so I would really like you all to be part of the class so that we can discuss case studies, which is going to help you in your examinations. I hope I made myself clear. Please do regulate this communication amongst your class fellows. That's it from my side. If you have any doubt, you can ask.
तो मैम कोई डाउट नहीं है, मैंने ऑलरेडी ग्रुप में लिंक शेयर करा था अभी क्लास का। अभी किसी ने ज्वाइन नहीं करा तो आई थिंक
कोई
दे आर।
दिक्कत नहीं,
तो
कोई
स्ट्रेटेजी में वैसे भी कम स्टूडेंट्स ही है, जो जिस ग्रुप में मैंने शेयर करा था उसमें 9-10 स्टूडेंट्स ही है जो कि स्पेसिफिकली स्ट्रेटेजी के लिए। और इससे ज़्यादा लोगों को मैं जानता नहीं हूँ जिन्होंने ये स्पेशलाइजेशन चूज करी है।
कोई नहीं,
तो आई
कोई नहीं।
थिंक स्टूडेंट्स कम ही रहेंगे, पर आई विल ट्राई टू बी मोर इंटरेक्टिव इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास।
No, it's okay if that too, that might also work, but ठीक है. In the next class, we'll discuss all the case studies that might help you in your examinations, and yeah, I will do that.
थैंक यू मैम फॉर योर क्लास।
Okay, okay.